right, and welcome in. My name is Mackenzie. I'm Ken Lane's daughter and Ken Lisa's daughter here. So I'm going to finish out these teaching classes. We've got 2 left, which is this one and next week's one. Then we'll take a break for a little bit and start back up in January. So Succulents, Cacti, and Southwest Gardens is today. So any with your smaller class, if you have questions anytime, feel free to interrupt me. I'll answer your questions. I passed around this first. This is we're gonna send out a Ken's Low Maintenance Landscape book. I'll print it out, so it's like a lot of pages. So send that to you guys. Flower-wise landscape, and then a watering guide. So if you want that, sign up here. If you're going to remember, it's not the same thing. It's just separate with your email, and we'll send it out probably later today, if not Monday at the latest, kind of thing. Okay. And for the online class, I'll get to you guys in a second, but I posted it to you. It's just me, so get it there in just a little bit. So today, pretty much on the ground. I'm going to go into fertilizer really quick, and then we'll go into succulents and cactus, and then just other hardy stuff and answer any questions you've got. I think the mix is the most important thing for succulents here and cactus, is getting your mix rate right for anything. Easiest way, I think the heat here will be able to grow things no matter what. Clay soils really kill the natives very fast for new planted stuff because people just tend to overwater it. Because our soil holds a lot of moisture, but the top is dry. So it takes everyone out, and then they keep giving water, and then things die very fast. So it's always easier to bring plants back from underwatering than it is from overwatering. That goes with anything. So after maybe perennial or flowers, that's it. Okay? So the mix is most important. Have any other mix? So this is the most important thing for pots or the ground. It works either way. It's just how much to use. So cactus mix, it's kind of got a mix of perlite, vermiculite. It's very light. Water just seeps right through. It doesn't hold a lot of moisture in it. So that's why it's great for anything that doesn't want to stay wet. For pots, I almost will do a straight mix of this, just in the cactus mix. If I don't like to water as much, because I tend to just want to water one thing a month and leave it alone. I'll do a mix of potting soil in the cactus mix. This potting soil, ours, has a little bit of peat moss in it. So once it gets hydrated, it holds moisture for a long time. So that's why I tend to do a mix, because I don't want to water things up to think about it. I don't keep a schedule myself. I just go with whatever I feel. And sometimes I feel things, sometimes I don't. You know? So if you're one that you're like, I overwater everything, I want to be able to watch it, just do straight this and you'll be good. So that's for pots. That's succulents, cactus, anything hardy, snake plants, any different house plants. I use this for a lot of stuff that's not just cactus or succulents. So if you tend to lean that way, just use it. For the ground, yeah.
What's your ratio when you mix it
I tend to go like 25% potting soil, 75% cactus mix, just a smidge. And I tend to put that mostly around the root ball. That potting mix, and everything else is cactus. Yeah. For the ground, so normally for the ground around here, you'd use premium mulch. Our mulch is not that; it's more like a compost for us. Normally, you do 50% that to 50% native soil, and that's how you plant most things. For my stuff, like manzanitas, cactuses, I tend to like to do a little bit of cactus mix right around the root ball. Because if I've got a lot of clay and I know I've got it, very few people actually have a lot of granite or boulders unless you're maybe living up in the Butte area. I tend to use a little bit of this around the root ball because if those stay wet and sit in a bathtub, you'll lose it super fast. Like a week, you'll lose at least your natives. Okay, so we do this around it. Does better. You can do the mulch still, mix it with your native soil. You still want to train it to be in native soil. You want it to root out. You don't want to give it a lovely home and have it go nowhere. The roots. So do a little bit of this. And if I know I've got a lot of clay and I can't beat that layer, if there's a cement layer, okay, if I know I can't dig past that, I will mound my plants up a little bit. So it means you take this one. You take where it kind of ends, right here, and I'll just raise it above the ground. Okay, and I can put some mulch up on it and stuff, but you want it to be at like an angle so that way water doesn't sit in a basin around it, it shuffles off the side and maybe sits on the edges. So I'll do that a little bit from succulents, knowing what kind of ground I have, because I'm just very susceptible to overwatering. So that's kind of your mix rates for in the ground and in pots. I can talk a little bit more, but that's your basics. Fertilizer, really quick, since that's fairly easy, is outdoor stuff, 744 all-purpose. Anything and everything you got, this can use on. It's not going to burn. It's not like a 10-10-10. It's organic. It's all natural. Technically, it's got bone meal, blood meal, so it can't be all organic, but it's all natural. Throw it around your base, water it in. Works over 3 to 4 months. It's just good for everything, even your succulents. On pots, I have a cactus. Let me bring up. Yeah, I have a cactus liquid. You just pour it. It's like the Schultz. You just pour it in water. Water your cactus with it for indoor stuff. Okay, succulent stuff. This is for outdoors. Yeah.
For native plants?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. This is not strong enough to burn any of the other stuff. I know they're like double fertilized natives and things. Yeah, not for here because we have nothing in our soil. There's just nothing living. You gotta constantly feed it. This is the best thing for the natives and everything else. It's not gonna leave the ground. 744 purpose everything. Those are your 2 fertilizers. That's all you're gonna use. It's easy stuff. I personally, if you have synthetics, 10-10-10 or liquid that's high, I don't like them personally because first of all, they rinse out really fast. So if you're using a liquid fertilizer, because we have to water often more than normal for most places, even in cactus succulents, that fertilizer just leaves really fast. And it can just, you don't know where it's going. You can go to a creek bed, your well water, you can go anywhere. I don't like that. Your granulars are pretty fine. You just gotta really watch the ratio. 10-10-10s can burn at that point, so you just gotta watch how much you're doing it. I just like doing this because I don't want to think about it. Again, I'm one of those that check it out, make it easy for me. I don't want to spend hours there. I want to enjoy the landscape rather than constantly maintaining the landscape kind of thing. All right, any questions on this stuff before I get into other things? Okay, make it quick and easy. This. Okay. Oh, I guess I'll talk about this really quick too. This is just really nice. We won't use this enough. This is humic soil activator. Okay, it's not a fertilizer, but it feeds your ground. Okay, mycorrhizal colonies. It gives those new life. Kind of makes roots want to stretch and grow. So it's fabulous for lawns, especially because the lawns just have short roots. You need longer roots, but it makes our ground come alive. And because we have nothing in the ground, like that, the 744 helps. But this just makes things want to grow and reach, and we just don't even know. And you can't overuse this. You just like check it out, water it in, and every 3 to 4 months you can use it. But because it's not a fertilizer, you can't overuse it. Just fabulous to work them all together. You mix everything together, throw it in, do it all at once. You don't have to layer it or do anything like that. Okay. Let's talk about some plants, I guess. I do want to do, yeah, let's do this first. So I don't know if anyone's from California, or if you were and you brought your succulents over and you learned a hard lesson. I'm going to talk about it real quick here. A lot of people bring their plants over, their succulents, even their outdoor cactus and things. They buy some new Phoenix or Verde, and they bring it over, and they learn things the hard way. And I have done the same thing. It's all different.
Massachusetts, I brought some stuff over from Boston. They made it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, they can handle a little more cold over there, so they're a little bit okay. So succulents, I'm going to start that. Cactus works the same way, and I can talk a little bit more about that. I'll start with these. So I have 2 different kinds of succulents. One for outdoor, one for indoor. Okay, so they may look the same. There's hundreds of succulents, hundreds. Very few of them actually work outdoors here in the winter. Okay, so don't trust everywhere you buy succulent. It's going to work indoor, outdoor, and all that stuff. So these are 2 different ones that are, this is an outdoor, indoor, outdoor. This is straight indoors. You can go outdoor in the summer. I'm talking winter right now for winter stuff. So anything says Northern Lights, Hens and Chicks is the main brand. Everyone knows that. Hens and Chicks can go outdoors. Okay, they're fabulous for that. This is just different varieties. They're all pups. They do great. These guys, as soon as we get cold, like maybe this frost shows some damage, but by November, these would be dead, gone. They're done. They hate the cold, especially snow sitting on them. Even if they're under cover in their porch, you could probably go longer. They're just going to die out. So we have to know which ones you're buying. That'll work well here. Okay. I bring these in specifically because these are beautiful. These are great. They look the same as these. Maybe there's different ones. And then you can plant them all together. Succulents are great because you can shove them together, pack them, and they thrive. The tighter you pack succulents, the more they like it. They don't need a lot of root structure. So I put these in shallow pots. I put them in between rocks, shove them in there. They can handle the heat. If you have like a rock wall and you're like, I don't want to look at that, I want something else, and I don't want to plant a giant bush in there, these do great in there. I'm trying to remember that one cactus that, it'll come to me later. But there's a certain kind of succulent you stick in walls and they trail down, they look beautiful. But these will do that. They can handle that heat that comes off in the summer. They don't need a lot of moisture. Sure, you don't have drip emitters up on rock walls. So these will do great.
How big do they get?
I mean, this is as tall as they get, and they can fill out. As you saw, these are all pups, all these little groupings, so they will want to spread. But if you shove them all together, they can't do that, so they just stay where they're at. These are hens and chicks. These are the Northern Light series. It's just different colors you can get. Hens and chicks is the one that can go outdoors, among others. I get lots of succulents in May, June, July, and then from there I kind of start cutting back.
If you pot them, how do you know when it's time to repot them? When there's too much? 'Cause things can get out of control.
Yeah, and they start kind of choking each other out. So I had a pot about 12 inches wide. I filled it. I left it there for about 5 years before I had to redo it. And you'll know because they'll fill the pot, but once they start kind of falling over the side and making it super heavy, you kind of know, or you start seeing pods that die out, and it means just one's taking over. That's kind of how I know to start doing it. You can always go longer than you think for succulents. They really can just handle being packed and be fine. So I'd say about 5 to 7 years.
And then when you get the little pups,
yeah,
do you just, if you don't want them, do you just pluck them and go?
Yep. Yeah. You can pluck them, plant them somewhere else, or you can just go, we're done with you and all that. Yeah, their roots usually aren't too integrated. You pull them early enough. You want to pull them earlier rather than let them grow. I think. Yeah. So things like this hold a lot of moisture. Things that kind of hold a lot of moisture in them. Like these, you can tell. Your leaves aren't as thick. They aren't as squishy. So they're not going to freeze as much. They're not holding as much water in them. These you can just they squish. They hold a lot of moisture. So they're easier to freeze and go to black mush. Black mush is how you know they've frozen. Okay? Among one other thing. I'll tell you more about that later. So that's kind of second. Cactus work the same way. You would think with the heat, cactus would do great here, but only 3 or 4 varieties do well. The others are kind of border. So you had a barrel cactus. Barrels are border here. There's zone 8. Some years they'll do great. Occasionally one freeze, one winter might take them out. But prickly pears, I'll go over the different cactuses that do well here, and then others that just don't do great. So,
is there a way to protect your barrels?
I'll go into that. Yeah, I'll talk about that in just a second. So cactus work the same way. You can buy in Phoenix. They're fabulous. They work great for summer. Cover them and stuff for the winter. We'll go into covering then, I guess. It'll be good. And the covering works for succulents too if you want to try and save some of these outdoor ones. Several ways you can do it. So you can use frost cloth. I don't have any at the moment. I'm going to show you that. It's just a breathable fabric. It helps get the cold air out, but keeps the warm air in. You use it whenever I just uncover during the day for warm. For frost cloth, anything you cover, you don't just leave your cactus covered for the winter. For the most part, it's just not great. They need to breathe, kind of thing. So frost cloth is a good one. It covers a big area. Phoenix like that, they take cups like styrofoam cups and they'll cover the tops. If you have more of an upright cactus, you can cover it that way. Burlap sacks, sheets and stuff, especially right now.
Well, if you use something like the styrofoam, do you have to make it so that some light gets in though?
Yeah, so that you have to almost uncover and cover, and usually you have to stick a fabric and then the cup on top of it. So you do want to try and let it breathe occasionally. Just don't use plastic. Don't use those plastic pots or things, because plastic actually keeps your cold air in more than letting the hot air in, so it's freeze even more. So don't use plastic. Anything other than plastic is great. Just make sure you breathable fabric is the most important thing. Okay, that's kind of your basics.
You leave the burlap on all the time.
I mean, you can. I mean, if we have a really warm winter and a nice day or two, you might take it off, get some air real quick and throw it on. I mean, the days are fine for cactus, just those nights. but you can leave it on for a good long while. With that, if you have a lot of snowfall, if you do happen to get a lot of snowfall this winter, fingers crossed, that is, or if it piles up and it doesn't melt super fast, like this last winter we had that. It wasn't a lot of snow, we had one that stuck around. You might try and go brush it off your cactus as best you can. Just give it some air. You don't want it sitting under that because they turn to black mush. There's nothing you can do about watering. There's nothing you can do about the moisture. But if you keep some weight off of that after cactus segments, especially the border zone ones, they just tend to do better. Your prickly pears, these succulents, you don't need to go weed the snow off of. They'll be fine. They handle our weather. They know how to take care of themselves.
I have some giant cactuses. I have tried to move them into my garage.
Yeah.
And they seem to do okay, but should I intermittently water them or just kind of let them go dormant?
Right, yeah. So she moves them into her garage, a bigger cactus. She's really glass talking if she should water them or not. Garages are great for cactus and stuff like that because they stay pretty warm. It's a good idea. I would occasionally water it. Pots, I mean, once a month is probably more than enough for that. Maybe twice, no more than that. I would say once a month for pots, yeah. And that goes for any of your, so for watering really quickly, anything established, even if it's newer this year, twice a month watering coming up is all it's like going to need. Maybe even once a month if you know your clay, if you know your soil. Okay, my soil, you can't get past that clay, so I water once a month because otherwise I will water all my succulents and drought hardy stuff. Okay, play it by ear. If you have a good snow, you don't need to water for that 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Okay. The most important thing is if you know a hard freeze is coming, hard snow, you actually want to water before that snow because it helps insulate the plant. And this goes for anything in your yard. Okay, it's good to water before a storm. It gives them insulation to go through it. And it's just the process. They uptake it. They keep moisture. They do better. Okay, so I know that was counterintuitive to what I said here, but for anything in your yard for hard freeze, just water it ahead of time. And then you can leave it for a good long while. Stuff like that. Okay? Especially for your pots, it's good to water your pots before a storm. It's not going to freeze the pot out, it's not going to crack it or anything. As long as you have a good pot, it'll be fine. Okay, covering, watering. I get into more watering later, that one's always a long one. So I'm going to talk about some of these plants. Let's start with the cactus since that's real quick and easy. The one that you don't have that she brought up to my attention was the agaves. Agaves do fantastic here. They do great. There's only like 3 varieties that do well though. Okay, so if you come to us shop with us, you know you're getting the ones that thrive and survive. You're fine. If you go somewhere else, you really do have to research your agaves and your cactus to know what you're getting. I carry them mostly, March through June, July. August I'll have agaves. Those are great, and there's those big guys. You're not gonna have them as big as Phoenix. There's no way. I tried. They don't work here. But you get a good 3-4 feet size one and have it do really well. The century plants, those are agaves. I sell them as little tiny things and they get huge. Set up a big soft flower that blooms forever. Those are perfect agaves for here. And they'll kind of spread and do the thing. And you can easily take them out before they get invasive. So those are fantastic ones. Those are agave perii, century plant. Kind of the same thing. Great one. Cactus work the same way. So this guy, this is the prickly pear. This is the Santa Rita in particular. It's white purple. You could do the green one. And then this is the baby Rita, again purple. These guys are fantastic to just leave out and do their own thing. I say with the prickly pears, respect their space. Give them room. They will get huge here, okay? They can get like 6 by 6. Some people use those focal points, put them up on a hill, you see them, especially the purple just stands out against our background of rock wall. Otherwise, put them to the side of the yard you want to fill, maybe keep someone out of, and then let it do its thing, okay? Because they like their space. If you like this cactus and you're like, I don't want it that big, baby Ritas. Baby Ritas get like 3 by 3, nice little mounding thing. Work the same way. They're just more to fit into your landscape, kind of put in with something, maybe not by itself because it's too small. But if you like the look, these guys are fantastic. Don't ever water them, leave them alone.
So we have a time frame for how
Big.
it will get, like over what kind of span?
Yeah, so for anything native, I tend to say 5 to 7 years till it gets to a good size. 10 years to fully grown. This guy's probably looking at 3 to 5, 5 to 7, like this, especially knowing its area.
Can you transplant those?
Okay. Yes and no. So yes, you can transplant them. It's 50-50 whether they work or not. So native stuff doesn't like being moved, doesn't like being touched. Like a lot of people will take the paddles and try and do the paddles. My dad did that for a little while to test it, and he had 50-50. Some took, a lot of them didn't, because natives are just so hard to grow being transplanted. If you can take this from somewhere and get as much of the root ball as possible, that's always better. And then move it quickly, root and grow. Anything to help it root up faster is way better. And then don't keep it too moist. A lot of people think they can soak stuff when it's natives and then plant it. Don't do that. So yes and no. Good answer, right? Perfect. Yeah, manzanitas, like people want to try and transplant these and take these. Like this is a small version you see out in the forest and stuff. Now, do what you like. You have to have a permit to go grab some forest, but I'm not going to tell if you're not. Don't come at me, okay? These guys these are really hard to grow in pots, but we found one vendor that does it, but they hate being transplanted. So good luck getting it from the forest. You can try it. Much of the root ball as possible and then move on. Try and put them where you want them, guys. Don't move a lot of things around, unless they're in pots, okay? Talk more about it in a second. They're not supposed to. This year's been a weird year. A lot of the deer, a lot of the pack rat things have been eating stuff they're not supposed to. They don't usually touch this because of all the thorns, but if they're desperate, it's got moisture, they're going to go for it. But it's not usually. Usually they'll rip up the roots, they'll go for grubs, or they'll tear it out as it's young. Once it gets older, you don't have much of a problem. But they have animals to go for roots. So just keep your roots healthy, keep the grubs out with the little half white worm things. They were bad this year. Make sure you just don't have those. So yeah, nothing really touches these. Full sun, I would say 6+ hours if you can. Really don't like the shade, they'll be too easy to kill. Yeah. More purple. I mean, obviously the purple is just fantastic. You can't beat that. Yeah. I like it better than the green. Greens are great too. They have their space. But, the other ones I don't have right now that can do well are choyas, teddy bear cactus. I mean, do what you will with that. Give them their own space. They will want to jump at you. Hence the name. But they do fantastic up here. I don't do a lot of big barrels. I'll sell as a donate. So I tell you that some years they'll die out unless you cover and stuff like that. But golden barrel cactus, great. Fish hooks, that's another big hype barrel. They'll do okay up here. That's kind of the main ones I sell. I'll sell others, but I'll tell you that there's donates before I sell you them. Okay. Cactus, that's it. Hedgehog, yeah, hedgehogs are great. Those ones are fantastic. They're like multiple little barrel, like tiny little cactus with their multiple heads on. They're fantastic. They send up little flowers and stuff.
Do they blossom every year?
Yeah, usually they will. Once they're established, once you put it planted, you give it a year or so just to root out because they usually focus on it first. But they usually will bloom every year. I have one over here that's bloomed every season.
Have you had any success with potted cactus, breaking them apart to when they're kind of out of control?
Yeah, so
I know they don't like to be potted.
yeah, I had great success in taking a lot of cactus that grow in a pot and breaking them out. I don't have a lot of success transplanting the ones I took out, kind of thing, but they're easy to kind of, depending on the type, break apart, take out, thin it out a little bit. Mostly you can do it with things like this. If it's one of those cactuses that kind of grow all together, not really. I've got 2 in my house that I've had in a pot forever. I will basically have to break the pot to be able to move that cactus. It's outgrown its pot. It's thriving alive. They do great in small pots, but to get it out at all, I'm going to have to break the pot. So, oh.
And you won't try to break it apart?
No, it's just... Okay, well, happens every time with my mic, I think. Turn this up.
Happened to Trump, yes.
It's not problems. I'll try to speak louder. Those aren't outdoor cactus. Oh, there is a cowboy cactus. I sell it as a houseplant. Summer does great outside. Inside, not at all. Winter time, not at all. Not outside. But there is a cowboy cactus.
there was one you mentioned. and I don't-
Hedgehog, barrel, choya.
There it is.
Okay, teddy bear cactus.
Teddies.
Those are little white spined ones.
Do you sell them here?
I do. Only in the summertime usually, because I get cactus like one time a year.
Do they make it in the winter?
Huh? They do great.
I've seen some beautiful ones, but
Yeah, they do fantastic here. They're one of the few. I don't have success breaking apart that one cactus I've got that's overgrown the pot, simply because it's all growing together, and there's no way for me to thin it out or break it out without really damaging the look of the cactus kind of thing. So I would have to cut it and make the cactus look ugly. So I just let it do its thing. Eventually, when it dies, I'll take it, just get a new one, but it will live there probably for another 5 years before I even have to touch it. I've had it already 10, I think, so I'll let it do more.
and it's okay for them to get root down.
Yep.
Because
They'll do fine. They actually like it. They don't do that circle of death thing that most things do if they're root bound, because plants will start growing their roots in a circle, and then they'll choke themselves out. Cactus don't really do that. The roots aren't thick or strong enough to want to circle that. I mean, a prickly pear in a pot's different, but anything else will do great. Yeah.
so you can do a prickly pear in a pot.
Yeah, I might do the baby Rita in a pot. Prickly pears, I think you could probably get 3 years before they get too big and it'll just outweigh your pot. But baby Ritas do great in pots. Yeah. Agaves do great in pots. Other cactus great in pots. Most stuff will do well in pots, surprisingly. Just you gotta do the size. Get the size right. Okay, so that's cactus, kind of succulents. I'll go into these other little bit native things really quick. And the yuccas are they're everywhere. They're beautiful. Okay, manzanita. Since I kind of did a little bit. This is the panchito. I also have the chieftains. If you don't want that giant bush and you don't have room for it, a lot of people have smaller spaces. These guys get 3x3. They're kind of knee high, mound out. You still get the look of a manzanita. They bloom like a manzanita. Those little white flowers. They'll get redder bark as they get older, mature. They get more red. So the same thing, they're still smaller. Okay.
That is not a manzanita.
This is. It's just not those giant ones. It's
So
a
it's like a miniature kind.
yeah, 3x3. It's like half the size, quarter the size. Yeah, regular manzanitas are like 6x6. Howard McMahons are kind of more like 8 feet. You don't have room for that. Panchitos and chieftains are great for that. Okay. Otherwise, it's the same manzanita. If I were to plant this now, I'd water it maybe once a week, depending on where I put it. Coming up twice a month, and maybe even once, depending on your area. Okay, if they hate water, do not let them go dry. The drier, the better. Okay, if your hobby is watering, don't do this stuff. Okay, not for you. These guys are all kind of in the yucca family. Okay, all do fantastic here. All will go through the winter just fine. These two will throw off flowers. You can already tell this is just a yellow yucca. Any yucca will do well here. Yellow one obviously sends off a yellow flower. You got the red yuccas, rake lights. It just depends on what size yucca you want, and then I can get it for you. Okay. These can either they're great kind of grouped together. By themselves, they don't show up a whole lot in your landscape. I mean, unless you mix them in. I like to do a grouping of like 2 or 3. Same color, different color, and then it makes it show up more in summer. Because in summertime, this will be like 2 heads on it, and then if you have 6, if you do 3 together, they'll just showcase and do fabulous. I would probably take this off drip after a year or so, maybe not put it on drip, but it does need some water to start because you got to get the root structure on it. From there, leave it alone. But these are just fantastic to mix in, give you a little bit of color without being like I have to water it all the time. Usually colorful blooming things you have to water a lot. So this is just one of those you don't. Yeah, yellow, yeah.
And deer resistant or not?
It's supposed to be. They might go for the flower. So the most things might go for the flower. It's not super common, but they'll leave the plant alone. Okay. These can get aphids on them, the flowers, because they're the last things that kind of bloom in a season. So aphids tend to go for them. Like this does have it. This cold that we had was probably going to kill them. Okay. I'll show you what to take care of for bugs for these things in just a second. But yeah, these are fantastic.
Do those bloom twice a year?
Yeah, they kind of just continue to bloom. They start blooming in like May or so, and then they'll just continue to bloom.
Yeah.
If they bloom out, you just cut it. If these bloom out, you just cut them as far back down as you can in here, and it'll make it send up another. as long as we're warm enough. Yeah, the ones you see out by the mall and stuff, they have those little pod balls on them.
Yeah.
Those are just the seed balls. You can cut those off or leave them. They're not going to create a huge mess. I think they're kind of cool. I spray paint them red, make little decorative things. They're there, or you can just cut them right off. This guy is the Sapphire Skies Beaked Yucca. This guy will eventually, I've never seen it done here. It could become a tree. Never seen that. They take so long to grow. I mean, 10 years, maybe you see some sort of growth on it. Otherwise, 15, 20, you don't need to worry about it, okay? Just put it where you want it. It does kind of get 10 by 4. It doesn't get super wide. 10 feet is the tree form. I would say more like 5 to 6, okay? It does, maybe occasionally will send off a white bloom. This one does bloom. Not every year. It's not going to be all the time. This is kind of, you just get it for the color and the look. It'll just be a nice mound for a while. That's why I like sticking it in. It gives you some shape in your yard, color that's not just green, that stands out. Again, deer resistant, javelina resistant. Might go for the roots, but they're not going to touch it because of the oakiness. This is kind of its cousin. This is the desert spoon. Same look, just thorny. Okay, desert spoon. This guy is just, this is kind of what it does. The beautifulness is like the curled ends that it gets. This curly Q. That's why they call it a spoon. It's kind of got a spoon end on it. Who knows? Obviously, nothing touches this. Nothing eats it. Does its own thing. This does not really bloom. Getting it for this. He stays. I can't remember. He stays smaller. 4 by 5. So a nice, just centerpiece, center yard mixed in. Beaked yuccas are fantastic here. They just live through anything almost. And even if the snow weighs on it, kind of maybe compacts it down, it kind of just pops right back up once the snow melts off of it. It's not going to break it. It's not going to cause it to just lay down. It'll pop right back up. Same with this one. Snow may get on it, may damage a few, but by the summertime, you won't even notice. It will be grown out. You won't notice the damage on it. Okay, those are kind of your yuccas. There's more.
So I've been getting in the habit of planting everything in those metal root cages.
Yeah.
Just because
Go
they
first.
dig it up.
Yeah.
Do you ever do that for those?
Yeah. So she's asking about the root cages. You sell gopher cages, basically. It doesn't rust. It kind of just sits there and keeps gophers and things from eating the roots. I would do that for, if you have a problem, do it for these two. Roots are roots. The gophers and things will go for it no matter what. So if you put that cage on, you just protects you long term.
And they'll be able to root out.
Yep. Yeah. It's like a really small chicken wire, basically a lot smaller, and they'll still root past that. Anything will root past it and get bigger. So we don't really get tap roots here like you'd see normally. The tap roots kind of run sideways because of our soil. So they'll get through that and send out a bigger tap root. Not these guys, but other things. These will just send out feeder roots. They'll be fine. Okay, that's yuccas. Cactus. Oh, this guy. You want to different color here. This is the color guard yucca. Beautiful. This is just kind of what it does. It gets fuller, thicker, but if you want something to showcase your landscape, at least put it in front. This guy, yeah, it's 4 by 4. From here, it'd probably taken 5 years to get any sort of size to them. Maybe 7 to get full grown. Depends on our summers and our winters, but this is just kind of what he does. He gets a little bit more color to him in the fall when it gets real cold. Kind of maybe November, he'll get like a reddish orange to him. But this is kind of what he does. He does lay down. If the snow gets on him, he will lay down. As soon as the heat comes back into April, May, he'll pop right back up. So we will have a lay down look if we get that heavy snow. Then he'll just be fine. He has a cousin. Can't remember the name on it. The cousin is basically a thicker leafed one. And it looks the same, just thicker leaves. It's a little bit meatier to it. And we'll get that more in April. Okay, we don't have it right now. It's a hard one to find because everyone loves it. So I can't get it a lot. Okay. Any questions so far? You guys have been asking them. I love it. Okay. I'll talk about him. He's slightly different since I have him. This is a bird of paradise. This is the yellow version. The red one you see that's down in Phoenix and stuff, it's beautiful, tropical. It will die here instantly in the winter. Okay? So if you want that same kind of flower look, I know they almost look completely different plants. But if you want one of those, this is the one to do it. Yellow bird of paradise. it will grow here, do well here. It defoliates in the wintertime. Leaves right back out in April or so, starts, and then it gets beautiful yellow flowers. They just bloomed here like 2 months or 2 ago. They bloom for a good long while, so should be planted, by next year you'll get a longer bloom on it because we brought these from California. So these are just fantastic. They're nice and soft. They're not as harsh a look as some of this native stuff. They're just a beautiful kind of tree. They are more of a 6 by 6, so bigger spot. Again, nothing eats it. Nothing likes to chew on it. Leaves it alone. Stuff like that. Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, insects are different. Yeah, the blister beetles are horrible this year. I'm sure everyone almost experienced it. If not, that Japanese beetle also kind of took over. This was a warm year. Nothing died, and everything came out of the woodworks. So I'll tell you how to deal with that in just a second. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. But I like to chew down. The Nandina's got decimated everything with all those beetles around here. No, nothing really goes to the manzanita I've seen. Especially this year, I haven't seen them go for it. The leaf is thicker. They can't really want to chew it up. They like the softer stuff. Yeah, manzanitas are solid because nothing goes for it. This is a sumac. There's 3 or 4 different sumacs you can get here. These are, if you have dogs or anything that like to chew, probably not for them. Okay, this has poison in it. You have to take a heck of a lot, but just don't worry. Don't do it if you're worried about your dogs. Okay, but sumac is fantastic because nothing eats it. Very low water, full sun. This one kind of gets 4 by 4, maybe 5 feet. When you look at the research on this, it kind of grows however it wants, depending on its space. It says 10 feet, but I've never seen it that big here. 5 by 5 is usually the normal size. I have one out there that's a tree-form sumac. It gets really bright autumn orange in the fall. It's starting to lose its leaves now, but it was bright orange, red. So if you imagine that in a tree form, kind of 8 by 8, it's beautiful. That's a different sumac. This is the trilobata, three leaf sumac. Okay, just a great shrub. Starts off a little bloom. You're not going to see it really. You're kind of just getting it to fill a space, and be beautiful. And I would put like flowers in front of it or something like that to spruce it up. That's how you use sumac. This guy, Mahonia. It has a kind of a bad rap, but it is beautiful here in the ground. Don't judge this plant by the pot, okay? The natives always look way better in the ground for anything. Okay? He gets a beautiful fall color. It's kind of a rustic red kind of thing. And then it goes to a bright kind of green in the summer, changes color. You'll throw off blueberries. I don't know if you've probably seen them around. Blueberries, birds love it. It's not toxic to dogs or anything. Check with your vet. Always check with your vet, okay? Blueberries, bright yellow flowers in the springtime. This is a beautiful plant that gives you color. Is also native. Okay, Mahonia. I have a creeping version. So the upright, better in the sun. Can handle the sun, does well. The creeping version does better under like a big pine, ponderosa, anything. It does better under a tree in some shade. I don't know why the difference. One burns, one doesn't. It's how it is. But that yellow under a tree is just, you can see it stands out. It's beautiful. So Mahonia is great. Nothing eats it. It's supposed to eat it. It's resistant because it's got that serrated edges. So you're not going to want to touch it. And it's a great wildlife feeder kind of thing with the berries. Okay, this is the upright version. Okay, he probably gets 6 by 6. So all these are kind of bigger. Natives, they get bigger because they know what they're doing. So it gets a little bigger. The creeping one's like 3 by 6. So half the size just grows out. Okay. Everyone knows what this is. If not, I'll tell you. This is the pyracantha, firethorn guy. He's in a vine shape right now. So he can go up something, a trellis, whatever, a wall. He's great for, if you put him at the top of a rock wall and train him down. He loves that. It's very hard to train them to kind of go up, so just train it down. Otherwise, if you want to bush more, just take these sticks out, let it bush up. Gets like 8 feet tall if you let it bush up. 8 by 6, 8 by 8, depending on how you shape it, if you want to shape it. This is a great blocker, privacy screen, keep someone out of your yard kind of thing. Berries, obviously, turn more orange in the fall. Great for your birds and wildlife. I have had my dogs kind of eat this stuff and they've been fine, but if you have dogs, you're worried about it, maybe not for them. kind of thing. But because it's got the thorns, and if he touches it, nothing eats it. So that's berries. So just a great plant for here. Don't water it. Just let it do its thing. Okay. Maybe once a week right now, maybe twice a month through the winter, and then it kind of see how the summer goes.
So I have some monster ones.
Yeah.
I kind of inherited.
Yep.
And I cut them about halfway and they branched out, but I really would like to cut them down and see what they do. If you cut them way down, like they're 8 feet tall, you cut them down, will they survive?
Yeah, so she wants to cut them back. She's got huge ones, and she's obviously
some
very.
of it's rotten, some of it's rotten in there. So
Yeah.
I don't want to start
It
from
is.
scratch and let it.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys see it here, but it does have kind of a thicker main root to it. I'd be hesitant to cut that all the way back to the ground. I might leave 3 feet of it or so. The other stuff, cut back, do a harsh one. End of February, beginning of March, I would do that harsh cut. I think you'd be fine. They're hardy. It's rooted. It's going to send up more from the ground or wherever. I think you're fine to cut it. She wants to cut it really harshly, like to the ground.
Maybe 3
I might
feet
leave
or
3
so.
feet. Yeah, give it a little bit of breathing room.
And like the real old stuff.
Yeah,
Can I cut that?
Yeah.
Like if I cut 3 feet and then the really old.
yeah. So for old things on anything, if your stuff does old wood and it gets thicker and harsher, like roses do that, lilacs do that, it's always a good idea to thin out that old stuff as best as you can because it makes it send out new stuff and refreshes the plant. So yeah, you can do that. And my roses, I just inherited some older roses that just moved into a place a year or two ago. They'd never been taken care of. They had really thick trunks. I just cut those out completely. I wanted to start kind of sending out new leaders, new trunks and stuff. So I taking it a while to come back. Okay, it's taking like a year. Next year will be way better. It'll go through an ugly phase and it'll get better for the stuff. Anything old you inherited, if you just start it right off the bat, trimming it, cutting it out, thinning it out every year, does way better over time. It grows harsh, better, bigger, things like that. Okay, any questions? Doing good on time? Yeah, let me see if the online class has any questions. Sorry, it's just me today, so we're working on it. All right, we're good. Okay. So, I just got this other stuff up just to fill space, but I can talk about it. Not really, I mean, they're drought hardy. I wouldn't say they're natives here for any of this stuff, but talk about it. I'm sure y'all know these. I just brought these up because they're different colors. These are echinacea. Fantastic. They've been blooming all summer. They'll probably continue to bloom until like mid-November till we get like a constant freeze. Then they'll die to the ground and be done, and they'll come up next summer. Hundreds of colors in this. You know your purples, you know your pinks. This one it's a purple green edge, so it gets more purple as it ages, the whole thing. Otherwise, it just kind of is this two-tone. And then this is kind of a newer pink one we got in. This is the Fresco Apricot. Just a new color. We get excited about new things here, new colors, because you see the same thing all the time. Something new. But that's just, it's tall as it gets. It fills out. It's kind of a foot by 2 feet, maybe. It's a great planter, filler kind of thing. They don't like their water. They don't like to be sitting in water. They like to be drier, on the drier side. They're supposed to be animal resistant. The animals this year kind of went after everything that flowered solely for the water, but they aren't a natural one for plants to eat, animals to eat. This guy, globe spruce. Okay, blue spruce, globe spruce. Yeah, it's a dwarf one. 3x3 maybe. Over its lifetime, it does take a while to get there. They grow 6 inches a year or so, maybe. Mostly in the springtime. Most of your evergreens grow in the spring, March, April, and then they're kind of done for the season. And they'll just do what they're doing. If he goes great in pots, great in front spaces, I wouldn't hide him behind anything because he will get lost. But he'll just become a globe. It's probably like the Mugo pine. It's just kind of his blue alternative kind of thing. Okay. If you want to keep your stuff blue, by the way, because sometimes our winters they'll make things kind of turn to green because they lost some nutrients and stuff. Aluminum sulfate for anything colored, blue spruces, globes, anything blue, anything you want to keep color. Use this in the fall. Use it now. Yeah, so they'll uptake it before they go dormant. You gotta use it next spring, but it keeps them blue.
So you just sprinkle it?
Yep. So anything. So if this was if planted, I'd put it around the base here, wherever the outer layers are. That's feeder roots. Okay. And it's like it's like half a cup for a big thing. Maybe this size, again, like 2 tablespoons. It's not a lot. Okay. This will last you a while. Don't overuse it. That's for blue things. I'll go into colors in just a second. These are some different succulents. There's lots of succulents to do well here that do great. These guys, the Autumn Joy and the Evolution sedum. These are more upright sedums. So about 2 weeks ago, they were all blooming. The blooms were like this high. So the blooms are like the same height as the plant. So you get like an extra foot. And then you cut them back and they like this. They will fill out. They will look nice bushes. Blooms will be here. So they're just great color. And the blooms are full. Like you can look at the picture, but they're full. It's like a whole other plant on top of these guys.
And you can plant those outside.
Yeah, these can be great outside. Yeah. It might show some like winter damage or something, but by summer you won't even notice it, and they'll be full grown and beautiful. They almost double in size over the summer. Everything. Bloom for a long time. They came in blooming, and then they bloomed for like 2 or 3 weeks afterwards. So they'll bloom for the entire summer, like June, July, August, September, maybe into October. Okay, so it should be cut off the old blooms. Cut off old blooms, new blooms come back. Okay? Sedums. I have ground cover sedums, I got upright sedums, ice plants. Those are those really nice kind of bloomy ones. They close at night, open in the day. Ice plants are great covers. They're fantastic in rock walls. Go down. Ice plants are great. Just don't have any to show you. Other succulents. I don't know why this is here, but lavender. Okay, great everywhere, anything. Most people overwater this, and that's the only way they kill it. This is the Goodwin Creek. So it does, they all send off blooms. Blooms are in the summertime, they don't bloom now. This Goodwin Creek's more of a shorter, squattier one, so I'd say 3 feet, maybe 4, and then 3 feet wide. It's a shorter one. You can cook with them all. This one's not really a cooking one, but you can use it as that. Great pollinator for bees. It's evergreen. It's going to look like this all winter. The older ones, like this last winter, I had people have older plants that kind of killed off one side, or they lost one side of it. Things have lifespans here, even the hardy stuff, so you just cut that off and keep going. Okay, so they will occasionally die off on some sides as they get older. Great plants. Rosemary is the same way. Rosemary and lavender are great for here. Okay, last 2, and then I'll take questions. I'll go into insecticides. These are great. I know people are scared of junipers. Okay, junipers at our garden center, we only sell the females, so you're not going to get the ones that pollinate the entire forest. You have those around you no matter what. They're in someone's yard around you. There's big orange trees in the spring that you see. Send off all that pollen. You're not getting away from it, but you don't have to add to it, and these don't add to it. Okay, so this is the Calgary carpet. This is the low version. It's like foot tall, as tall as it gets, and then it spreads out like 8 feet. It's great for hillsides, erosion control. You can throw it, water it maybe the first year, maybe 2, and then you let it do its own thing. Okay, it's great on its own. This is the mint julep. This is kind of that 6x8. So it just creates a wall for you that you don't have to water. It does fantastic. You can trim it or not. I like it in its natural, but it sends out a weird leg. You can cut it off. Otherwise, leave it alone. These guys leave their things alone. Some people, when this gets bigger, they're like, can I thin it out? I got animals in there and stuff. If you thin it as it ages, it does better. You don't have to crawl in there. But animals are animals. Just let it do its own thing. Okay, I wouldn't do a lot of chopping on these guys. Okay, you take your risks, what you get. Okay, but junipers are really hard to kill. Again, most people overwater them, and that's how they kill. Can't really underwater these guys. I've seen it done, but it takes a lot. Okay, I've seen a lot of things done. Junipers. If you see, I would not do top watering on junipers. That's what, if you see this brown, I don't know if you can see that. Because the pot's big, we have to top water. A water here is salty, it's harsh, it's going to burn things. So if you put a drip under it, you'll be a lot better. Or if you can get your hose under it, a lot of people hand water. Try and get as close under as you can. Just don't top water any of your natives or junipers, anything like that. Okay, Insecticides really quick, because this year was a bad year. For your cactus and succulents, this year I saw that they have a lot of worms in them. If you saw those black spots on your prickly pears, it looked like mush, it almost looked like a fungal. It was worms. Okay, so yeah. Tree and shrub drench is systemic. Mix it in water, pour it right at the base of your cactus, your succulents, whatever has got anything in it. It will take care of the worms. Prickly pear also can sometimes get that certain scale on them, which is a hard back insect. They attach on, they suck the life out of your plant. You can't spray those because they have that hard back. You have to use a systemic on stuff. So this will do fantastic, and it protects for the whole year. So you use it once, don't use it again for a year. It protects anything new that's coming up, any new growth. It gets that. It's fantastic. Protect it and also kind of cover. If you have like the aphids on stuff, yeah, insecticide spray, triple action. I like the sayonara because it doesn't have the oil, so I'm not going to burn with it. Anything you use in the morning or the late afternoon. I like sayonara simply because I like to put it on a hose, spray it down, and it works fantastic. But any insecticide you've got, just be careful if it's oil-based or not. Okay, that's where those mealybugs, aphids, spider mite, things like that. Okay, this is a bad year for stuff. Sometimes this didn't work, you have to keep using it. Some years you have to just use it once a week till you take care of the problem, and then you're good. So we can help you figure out what you need. But insecticide. Just mention this really quick. Bad year for worms. Worms are not okay. Budworm, tree worms, is the ones got in your tent caterpillars. Caterpillar killer with BT. BT is what kills the worms. So if you see any worms of any kind, you can use an insecticide. BT is better because it's meant for the worms. Okay? It kind of spasms out their nervous system and keeps them from eating. Because they will chomp down your stuff super fast. Bark beetle, beetles. Beetles are hard. I do mix. Because they're hard-backed, sprays are going to work. They just take time. Because you're eating on your plant, I try and use the systemic long-term and then spray them when I see them because they will decimate things in a day. But I kind of do a mix for the beetles because they're just so hard. They do quick work on your stuff. So I will do a mix. Long-term protectant, quick-term solution. Okay. Blood distributors aren't always bad every year. They were bad this year because we didn't have a super cold winter to come out. So they'll kind of come and go, but it's not a bad year.
So,
yeah.
So, the little white puppy worms.
Yeah.
So I had a problem with them. I bought some stuff from here. It's supposed to be used once a year.
Okay.
But then I noticed they were.
Coming back.
Do you use it more than once a year if you see that they're coming back?
Yeah, so the systemic, it's supposed to be used once a year. You can use it more than that. I wouldn't use it more than 3 times in a year for systemic. And was it a granular or was it liquid?
It's granular.
Okay, so it's probably that grub control. You can use it again. So she's got a granular grub control for the worms. You can do it more because it's not going to burn anything. It's not going to kill your soil. You can continue to use it. You can use it once a month or so till you kind of really see the problem go away. Again, systemics are supposed to work great. Sometimes the problem's worse than that. You have to keep using it, and eventually it'll take care of it.
It did work really good, I think, but then because I used it early spring.
Oh yeah.
I think that's what they suggested.
Yep.
But then it
Came back. Yeah.
I think it was a real problem.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This year, I mean, lawns were decimated. The heat and the worms just together decimated lawns. The grubs were hard this year. Again, because I think because we didn't have a hard freeze in our ground, the eggs just kind of spawned and keep in and come out. So yeah, keep using the systemic if you continue to have problems. The liquid one, just don't use more than 3 times a year. You shouldn't have to. If you do, we've got other problems. Okay. This is great for your evergreens, by the way. Your ponderosas, your pinions, things that get bark beetle, things that get scale that you can't spray because they're huge. And spraying services kind of cost a lot sometimes. If you have ones up close you want to protect, use these guys. Because a lot of the natives this year, by the way, died out. They got scale. They died really fast. And also because they're not watered regularly, they took a bigger beating. So if you just want to protect those guys because you can't find them and grow them anymore, use this. Okay, so cheaper solution for your close-up stuff. If you have a forest of them, do what you wish. But just a little tip, okay?
What about boars?
Yep, this will take care of the borers and stuff. Now, if you have fruit tree borers, you can use this. It's just so many days before harvest. So you have to be careful of the fruit trees. Okay, but the borers are hard because they protect themselves in the sap of the tree because the tree's trying to get rid of it. This will work. Just be careful to use it. If not, take a little paper clip and get in that hole and try and kill them. But try and use that.
Why can't you use that near harvest?
It's a thick molecule, but if you use it so many days for harvest, you just run the risk of it getting into the fruit. But you just do it before that because it's not fine. It's a thicker molecule, so it won't just get into it willy-nilly. You just have to be careful when you use it.
So if you do get it into the food, what happens? You're not supposed to eat it.
And you're not supposed to eat it. It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to harm you. But it's just the chemicals. You just want to be careful. But we try and go save these chemicals. I'm not trying to use harsh things here. I don't like that. So it's just the softest, safest thing you can use because borers will girdle your tree and they will kill your tree if you don't take care of them pretty fast. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think everyone has a fruit tree, especially stone fruit, peaches, nectarines, plums. They love those trees. I think they're just sweeter for some reason. I don't know. Any other questions? Yeah.
Okay, again, on the fruit trees for that, Adam planted a month,
Okay.
and I can use that as preventative.
Yeah. So again, preventative is great. I'm not saying it's going to be 100%, but now would be a good time to use it before they start fruiting and stuff in the spring. It will help. The thrip. So thrip, by the way, insect that get our fruit trees a lot. They'll curl the leaves. They make them look mottled. This will help with that. I'm not going to tell you it's foolproof. Thrip are insane. They're aggressive. Those you'll just have to spray with insecticide as you see them. They don't really hurt the fruit. They just make your tree look ugly. Okay, and they make it stressed. But we can talk more about that in spring. But yeah, use this now for your fruit trees to help with the borers. Anything else?
Completely different topic.
Okay.
Should you use the cactus potting soil for Christmas cactus?
Yeah, Christmas cactus. They're coming up here in about 3 or 4 weeks that I'll get them. I would always use cactus mix because they're very easy to overwater. Unless, yeah, they're just because they hold so much moisture that people usually just keep adding to it. And what happens here with our pots and our ground, the top part will look dry and it will be dry, so you stick your finger in, it's dry. Bottoms stay completely wet here for longer periods of time. So a longer moisture meter for inside pots are great. Otherwise, a piece of rebar or a long wooden dowel or something for your outside dirt and stuff will help you tell you what's happening in your soil. I talk more about that, but that's basics for how to test your soil for moisture. Yeah, cactus mix.
So I have blue spruce tree too.
Yeah.
They get watered twice a week. Should I now?
How old are they?
A year and a half.
So she's got blue spruce, watering twice a week. I would cut that back. I mean, I don't know what's on your line. I'm sure there's a lot on your line.
Little.
Okay, so I would cut it back to once a week. Now you're in between zones right now, so you're probably going to go down to twice a month here real soon. But once a week, I would start doing it. It depends on how many gallons is coming out. Do you know? Okay, it just depends on how many gallons. So as long as you get it once a week, if they're moderate trees, 10 to 15 gallons, but then really let it dry out. You want dry out time between waterings here.
When do I turn it off? The winter, or do I?
You do. You do want to turn it off. Usually it's like November because the first frost is usually October 31st, around there. Just gotta come up by year, but it's coming up. Yeah.
When is the best time to plant the cactus?
Yeah, so October's a really nice time to plant because we're still warm, but we're cool enough where they're not stressed out with the heat. So now's a great time. Otherwise, March, April, May next year is great.
If you put that cactus mix in,
Yeah.
should you wait a while before you put the cactus in?
No, you can just plant right into that. Yeah. Okay, for cactus mix, yeah, it's great. Okay, cool. Well, thank you guys for showing up. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
You're amazing.
it's a lot of information here.
Yes, sir.